Hello everyone and welcome to my channel The Cloud Minds. How are you all doing? I hope that you all are doing great. So today's topic will be one of my favorite topics. It's called the auto scaling group, and it is within the EC2 dashboard or the EC2 page. Whenever you land on the EC2 page, you can see that there are many options on the left hand side, left hand pane, and one of the options at the bottom is called the auto scaling group. Now, before we jump on to the topic, here's a quick introduction about me. Hello everyone, my name is Tejas Mahendrakar, and on LinkedIn you can find me by the name Tejas the Cloud Simplifier, because I'm here to simplify the clouds for you all. On YouTube you can find the channel The Cloud Minds, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel, because otherwise you'll be missing a lot of stuff, a lot of content, really interesting content on AWS and the cloud technology. And if you would like to interact with me, if you have any issues, if you'd like to my consultation, you can always send an email on thecloudsimplifier@gmail.com. That's a quick introduction about me. And without further ado, like I said, let's jump on to the topic of what is an auto scaling group. Now, as the name suggests, auto scaling group is a way for your EC2 instances to scale automatically. Now, what does it mean? Imagine that you have a website and the website has 2 to 3 instances that are currently running, and that is under the application load balancer. Now, if you are confused about application load balancer, do not worry. I already have made a video and I'll share the link of that video in the description box of this video itself. Okay, so let's continue. What is an auto scaling group? As I said, the name suggests, it is an automatic scaling of your EC2 instances. Well, it works with other AWS services as well, but let's focus today on the EC2 itself. Now, imagine that you have a website which is hosted and which is running on 2 of those EC2 instances. Now, your website has become a lot of popular and there are a lot of people that are interacting with your websites, and your EC2 instances that you have provided or you have provisioned have become overwhelmed. What you do, you create another EC2 instance manually, and then you create another one, and then you create another one. Now, instead of 5 or 6 instances, now imagine that there are 10 instances. The management of those instances becomes difficult. Now, when I say management, if there is scaling out, which means if we have to increase the amount of EC2 instances, that is called scaling out. If we have to scale out manually, and if we have to scale in, which means reduce the number of instances, it becomes a manual and error prone task. That is the reason why AWS has come with a service called the auto scaling group, wherein you just provide what is your minimum capacity, your desired capacity, and your maximum capacity of the EC2 instance, and the AWS manages it for you. Of course, before you create the auto scaling group, you have to create something called as a launch template, which means you're providing AWS with an understanding of what kind of EC2 instances are that you are looking for under this auto scaling group. Okay, now this is a quick introduction about auto scaling group. Let me just click on the auto scaling group, because on the page, on the auto scaling group page or the dashboard here, AWS has provided very nice documentation, and they say that it helps maintain the availability of your application. Now, why do they talk about availability? Because if there are many hits on your EC2 instance or the website that you have hosted on the EC2 instance, it might get overwhelmed. That is the reason why they say that it helps maintain the availability of your application which is hosted on the EC2 instance. This is how it works. Now, like I said, the minimum capacity here is 1. The desired capacity here is 2, and the maximum capacity that I want or that I require is 4 as of now. Now, what does it do? AWS makes sure that always there are 2 available EC2 instances. Of course, if the load increases or if there are many hits on your websites that is hosted on the EC2 instance, it will increase it to the maximum capacity, and then when it is trying to reduce, it will not reduce less than the minimum capacity. And that's why we have a floor, a ceiling, which is the minimum capacity is the floor and maximum capacity is the ceiling, and in between that is the desired capacity, is what the number of instances that the AWS will provision for you. Now, this all happens automatically. The only thing that you need to take care about is creating a launch template. Alright, now let's go ahead and understand what the auto scaling group is and what a launch template is. If you scroll a bit on the left hand side, and you see under instances there's something called as a launch template. Now of course I have created launch templates for my own demo purposes, my own teaching purposes, so that I can teach it to my students, and whenever I mentor someone I can teach it to them. That is the reason why I had created these demo launch templates. But today I'm going to create another launch template just so that you understand what a launch template is before we can go ahead and use the auto scaling group. Okay, now let's create a launch template. Now a launch template looks pretty much similar to an creation of an EC2 instance. Okay, now you have to provide a name of the launch template. Let's provide demo launch template, which is on Linux. Okay, so this is a demo launch template which is on Linux. Now they want a template description. I'll just say version 1. I don't have to provide everything, and I do not want template tags or source template. I'll just leave it as it is. Here if you go to in the application and operating system images, if you go down, I would always prefer using an Amazon Linux because I can connect it to it very easily, because in Windows you'll have to download the RDP and then make a lot of effort to connect, whereas I find that the Linux instance is pretty easy to connect because I'm pretty much comfortable with using those Linux commands. Alright, so like I said, it's pretty much similar to creating an EC2 instance. It will ask for the AMI. I'll leave it as default. It will ask for the instance type, and I would always go for the instance that is free tier eligible. As of now, I do not want to include the key pair because, as I said, you can directly connect to the Linux instance. You do not need any key pair as of now, unlike for the Windows instances. All right. So here I will not include it in a launch template as of now, but I will make sure that I create a security group. Why? Because I need the HTTP, HTTPS and SSH traffic to be whitelisted. That is the reason why I'll definitely go ahead and create a security group, because I have already created security groups and I can select one of them. For example, Linux HTTP, HTTPS and SSH security group is one of the ones that I had created. So I'll go ahead and use them. If I just look at that, it will say that it has HTTP, HTTP, SSH and HTTPS is allowed from everywhere. So this is the one of the launch templates that I'm going to create with this security group. All right, I'll not change anything else. The storage volume, I'll leave it as it is. I do not want to change it. The resource tags is also fine. The only thing that I would add is in the advanced details, and we have already discussed this in one of our previous videos, that I'm going to create a user data. Now I'll copy the user data, come back and then show you how it works. Now here is the user data that I've created. Of course I can provide it later as well. After I connect to the instance, I can still do it, but I would always like to give it before, because this helps in bootstrapping of the application, and whenever you start up the application, this is already installed with the EC2 instance. Okay, so let me just give a quick review of whatever is required. I require this, the name of the EC2 instance, the name of the launch template, the version of it, what is the AMI that is required, what is the instance type that I require, and I do not require any key pair. I do not require any network settings as of now, because that is what we are going to create or configure within the auto scaling group. All right, and then I have selected an existing security group. I do not want to change anything else. The only thing that I've added is the user data. All right, I'll go ahead and then say create launch template. Now this is creating the launch template. Now, as I said, why do we need a launch template? Because whenever we are creating an auto scaling group, this is one of the requirements that it will require. It will ask for the launch template, and this is the launch template that we have created. So I'll select that launch template. Okay, before we move ahead, I'll just give the name of this auto scaling group. So I'll say demo auto scaling group. That is the name, which has Linux instances. All right, so this is the name of the auto scaling groups. Now it will ask for what is the launch template, like I said, and what is the version. Now we cannot edit the existing launch template. Whenever we try to edit it, it will say create a new version, and that is what it is showing here. Now for example, if I want, instead of Linux instances, I want some other operating system, or I want some changes within the instance types, I can still go ahead and do that within the same launch template. However, I'll have to create a different version, and whenever I do so, I'll have to select the version here. All right, so Let me just take a quick look. Yes, it says T2 micro, and this is the launch template that we have taken. When I go next, I can still override the launch template. Mind you, I can still override it. However, I'm not going to do that because I want to remain within the free tier. Alright, so here is where I choose the network. So I take the default VPC which is already provided with it, and I will select at least 2 availability zones so that whenever the instances are created, they are created within these 2 availability zones. Let's go ahead and see if I want to add a load balancer. Yes, of course, I can go ahead and add or attach a load balancer, but as of now, I do not want that. That will be a topic for the next content or the next video, guys. Okay, so I do not want to do any VPC lattice integration. Health checks are by default enabled. I will not be doing anything else. These are all the default settings that I'll be creating here. Okay, now here is very important part wherein we will be specifying what is the desired capacity. So I'll say minimum is 2 that I require, sorry, minimum is 1 that I require, the desired capacity that I require is 2, and the maximum capacity it can increase to is 4. Now how do we do it? I can still do it using the target tracking policy, wherein I say the average CPU utilization, for example, is more than 80%. And then this is the instance warm up, you don't have to worry about it, but I can say that the target value, if it goes above the 80% of the average CPU utilization, it will add 1 more instance to it. Of course, along with it, it will also do the health checks. The health checks are very important because whenever the auto scaling groups detects that there is an issue with one of the instances and one of the instances is shutting down, that is less than the desired capacity, a auto scaling group kicks in and creates another EC2 instance. I do not want to take any instance maintenance policies, or I do not want any scaling protection. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just click next and leave everything as default. Of course, here also I can create notifications. I have already created 2 SNS notifications, and I have my email addresses here. I do not want to have the SNS notifications as of now. So I'll just minimize this. I'll go ahead next. It's asking for, do I want to add tags? I do not want to add tags. And let's review the launch template. What does it say? It says that the desired capacity is 2 and the minimum capacity is 1 and the maximum capacity is 4. So it is going to create 2 EC2 instances. Now before we do this, I just want to show you that there are no running instances as of now, and whenever I go to the instances, and then I can see that there are no running instances that are currently available, or any instances for that matter. Okay, instance state, there's no instances, so it will not show any instance state. But as soon as I create, the auto scaling group kicks in and understands that there are no instances, or there are 2 more instances that are required, and it will create those 2 instances. Now let me just click on this and then wait for a few minutes. If you can click on this and then see the activity that is going on, as of now, not yet in service. There are 2 EC2 instances, if you see, that are getting launched, and it has also provided us with the application or the instance IDs that are getting launched. It says that it is not yet in service because this is when the auto scaling group has kicked in, and then it is trying to launch, or it is launching 2 of the EC2 instances. So why? Because we had given the desired capacity as 2 and the minimum capacity as 1, and the maximum capacity that I require as of now are 4. So it will always follow the desired capacity. Okay, since I had already given the user metadata or the user data there, I can directly go ahead, open this public IPv4 address, and I'll see whatever I had provided there. Now because this is an HTTP connection and it is not an HTTPS connection, it will not work. However, when I click on the HTTP and the public IP address, it will start working, guys. So you see that there are 2 instances. The 2 are different instances. Let me go ahead and open the other one. Okay, now you see the IP address for this starts from 3.109, and for this it starts from 43.205. Okay, now here as well, I'll just remove the HTTPS, just put the HTTP. Now you can see what are the internal IP addresses or the private IP addresses that have been provided, internal IP addresses that have been provided to these particular instances. You can see that those 2 are different. Okay, this is the work of auto scaling group. Now if you come back to the activity, it says that it is successful. Okay, like I said, another thing of the auto scaling group is the monitoring. Now, for example, if today let's see if the status checks have completed. If not, then we'll have to wait a bit. It says initializing. Let me wait for a bit and then come back once the status checks have been completed, and I'll show you another thing that an application, or sorry, the auto scaling group is capable of doing. All right, let's wait and then I'll come back after this has done. Alright, I can see that the status check has passed. You can see that 2 out of 2 status checks have passed. Why does it say 2 out of 2? Because the hardware as well as the whatever is the application that is provided within the EC2, the operating system, the AMI, all are okay is what it says. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and check the activity. It says both are successful. Okay, that's good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to terminate the instance here. Now, as I said, either I can stop or terminate the instance, it doesn't matter. But if I terminate the instance, it will sense, the auto scaling group will sense that there is some issue with the desired capacity that we had created, and then it will kick in and it will create another instance, and this will happen actually within few seconds time. Now, imagine if you had to do this manually, or if you have to do it on premises, it would take you a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of money. But here it's just click of buttons. That is the beauty of the cloud technology. All right. Now let's refresh this here and then see whether it has detected or not. Not yet, because there is a bit of gap between whenever it senses that there is some issue and whenever it starts or it kicks in, creating another EC2 instance after it has sensed. Alright, let's wait for a bit and I'll come back and I'll show you whether the launching of EC2 instances has started or not automatically. Okay, now if we come back and look at it, under the activity tab of the auto scaling group, if you see that it says that terminating EC2 instance has been successfully completed. Of course, it was a manual intervention. Imagine that it has already been terminated by itself and we have not done anything manually. So just imagine that it has terminated by itself, but if you see, it has already started kicking in and creating another EC2 instance. Let me just quickly give a quick refresh and then see. Now it says that the launching of EC2 instance has been successful, and this has been within a matter of seconds, guys. This is the beauty of the cloud technology and the AWS, like I said. Okay, let's come back here and then refresh and see that the instance that we had terminated is now gone, and auto scaling group has sensed that and then created another EC2 instance. This is the one, this is the EC2 instance that it has created, and because we have provided the launch template to it along with all the configurations, it has already taken that and it has created the EC2 instance based on those configurations, and you can see that this has a different IP address, and this is probably the one that has been terminated, and this is the one that has been created newly or recently by the auto scaling group. Now there might be chances that these auto scaling groups are not under the application load balancer yet. As I said, that will be a topic for the next content, but be rest assured that I'll create those content and then I'll share it with you. But today's content, like I said, is only about the auto scaling group and the beauty of the auto scaling. All right. Now, if you have been following along with me, do not forget to create or do not forget to delete the auto scaling group. Why? Because once you delete the auto scaling group, it will also delete the instances that have been created. Of course, it is still within the free tier, but still you will be charged for it after a certain amount of time. And for that, if you want to know how much is the time, I believe it is 750 hours. You can still go ahead and check it on the AWS website under free tier. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the auto scaling group. Like I said, I'm going to delete the auto scaling group as well as I'm going to delete the launch template that I had created. After that, the instances will automatically get deleted. Okay, so here is what I'm doing. I'm deleting the resources that I've created, and this was just because of for the demo purposes. I am going to go ahead and delete those instances so that I still remain within the free tier. Okay, let's go ahead and see what happens to the instances. If you see, the instances have started shutting down. I have not manually terminated the instances. Only thing that I've done is deleting the auto scaling group, and by itself it has triggered the deletion or the shutting down or the termination of these EC2 instances. And that is the beauty of auto scaling group. You do not have to manage, everything is being managed by the AWS. The only thing that you need to provide is a launch template, and that's just a one-time activity, unless you want that launch template to be changed and versioned for something that you require. Alright guys, it was lovely that you stayed till here, and if you're following along, I am sure that you have understood a lot till now, and if you're following along, trust me, you have gained a bit of mastery within this AWS. And if you have been looking at my previous videos as well, wherein I have put around 20 to 25 videos till now, wherein I have explained different aspects of the cloud technology, different aspects of the cloud AWS services and how they work. Alright, it has been lovely that you stayed till the end, and do not forget to subscribe to this channel, because statistics show that 75 to 80% of you who are watching these videos are not subscribed to my channel, and it's a humble request to you all to subscribe to my channel to keep getting these kind of intriguing and amazing videos. Alright guys, thank you so much, and this is Tejas signing off, and you all have a great day.